Ladies and gentlemen, today's rant will be a special one. It is specifically inspired by a mock case I had to review in one of my legal studies courses, although not entirely. Gym class, or more formally referred to as physical education, should be removed from school. While it can be okay for younger kids, ultimately after grades 4 or 5, physical education class should be omitted from the school day, and here are some reasons why. Physical education has never amounted to anything spectacular in my experience. Almost everyone I knew, or was acquainted with, passed with a 100% grade. And these aren't even athletes who I'm speaking about. In elementary school, gym was typically fun. At the school I went to, we weren't even assigned to play actual sports games, like softball, basketball, volleyball, tennis or football. No, instead we did other shit like play games that amounted to a lot of running around, like jailhouse, the blob, crab soccer, blanket battleship, and an assortment of games that involved those beanbags that never had a crisp color to them, and we always wore the clothes we went in, at least until grade 6. Doing this was fine. Most of the games were fun, yet simple and not too formal, like regular sports. That's because coursework for 1st through 4th graders was relatively simple, and nobody even received letter grades until they reached the 3rd grade. Starting at 6th grade is when physical education is considerably functionless as a part of the school day. I remember those days very well. It would be after lunchtime, about 12:30 to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when everybody either before or after an elective study course would transition to gym class, where they would swap their clothes off and then back on, without access to a shower, and carry their sweat with them to 7th or 8th period and carry on learning. Little did I think about it then, our teachers were likely holding back vomit. Daily. All throughout middle school, nobody was granted access to showers after gym class. Neither the boys, nor the girls. And they would make us go outside on some occasions. And we would always be instructed to run, no matter what we were going to do during class. No showers. All we were granted permission to do was use deodorant, if it wasn't the spray-on kind, which had become prohibited sometime before I entered 6th grade. Now, I don't care how close to the end of the school day it is, but that's a terrible practice of hygiene. For all I know, I could have smelled like sweat or ass to my teachers or the other students around me after every gym class. Not only can that create a distraction in the classroom, but switching from high physical activity to some other subject, like math, language arts, or even school orchestra, for that matter, can disrupt the acquisition of new knowledge. While some people enjoy going to gym class, there are others who do not, and I don't think any kid should have to be forced to participate in these classes just to serve as a background fun. This could be stressing ex-students out beyond belief, therefore, fucking up their whole school year all, because some gremlin in sweatpants standing before 40 to 50 students at one time demands they participate in a game of knockout or flag football. Most of the time I just stood and watched what the others did, because how the hell can 10 or 15 other students in a team involve themselves when the quote-unquote star athlete has the whole game handled? Do you think it's normal to go from, say, learning about the Pythagorean theorem to then getting screamed at from some kid you first met in 5th grade about not picking up some ball, and then go to French class and write out conjugations 40 minutes afterwards? Do you think it is conducive to thrive in one's academics? And why do all the gym teachers I meet want the whole class to start playing knockout every other day? I rarely knew what I should have done, but I never gave a fuck, because, whether you sucked or not, physical education at my school was an easy A. Without schools funding gym class and sports activities, a large percentage of the budget could be devoted to shipping healthier food choices to the schools, replacing a lot of junk food and institutional-sized bags of grain slop that is purchased in bulk. Even with physical education, nobody really eats healthy foods anyway. Most of the time, usually after the 3rd or 4th grade, kids, I myself included, stopped taking a lunch to school, because nobody wants to carry a lunchbox around on top of carrying fucking backpacks to school which may or may not have any textbooks in them. Aside from the main lunch choice, the other entries were almost all unhealthy, including motherfucking thick, doughy pizza, slimy fried curd, cheeseburgers or hamburgers, which by the way were always made even more disgusting due to being wrapped in either blue or red and silver metallic paper. So, burgers, nachos, pretzels, breadsticks with cheese, baked potatoes, hot dogs, corn dogs, of which I have never eaten, and so on and etc. Wow, that makes me sick even thinking back to what they served us. And these choices were the same in both middle school and high school. Even if the unhealthy food choices remain, like sugary cereals, sodas, salty potato chips, and ice cream bars, I still guarantee that all the students will be drawn to new integrated gourmet and organic foods. Just imagine replacing all the VFW food with salmon, tuna, tilapia, veal, salad, kale, red cabbage, sushi, stir fries, vegetarian and vegan mock meats, exotic fruits like papaya, dragon fruit, pomelos, dates, durians, loquats, aloe vera, lychee, and especially more vegetable options for the main course. Some people say that without gym class, everyone would get fat, but in reality, everyone just needs to eat a sufficient amount of calories, and with gym class ditched, everyone would be able to go home sooner, and then some kids would have the choice of whether or not they will play outside or inside. The jocks would still be able to go to little league games, so pitch not. In the 2 years after leaving high school, I eat maybe 20% of the foods I ate back when I was in mandatory schooling. Now, if I'm not out and about, I cook every single meal that I eat, and it's all whole food type meals. There would still be over half of the budget from physical education left over, so perhaps there could be more rooms in the schools, and they could hire better teachers as well. After all, more than half of the waking day is spent in the damn building, so make it count. I realize that in mandatory health classes, part of the course is dedicated to teaching students what is proper nutrition versus what is unhealthy. The problem with that is only the basics are taught. Even the biggest idiots in school can distinguish a healthy meal versus one that isn't healthy, in most circumstances. Along with the gourmet meal options, add nutrition, as an elective, that can cover the topic in more stringent detail. It doesn't have to be mandatory. With the exclusion of gym class and extracurricular sports, there will be a better balance of attention given to all students, and the classroom dynamic will have a balance. No more will ex-prep or ex-jock blurt out something stupid in the middle of a lecture, or when everyone else is doing their work. I've seen it where some of these assholes talk loud enough, like they could strike up a conversation with the whole room, or exhibit attention-seeking intrapersonal character, exuded through means of using the same dialect and sentence structures of unfunny comedians, like Dan Cook. In some of my classes, there have been plenty of times the teachers would ask simple non-rhetorical questions and for the next several seconds, the room would fall silent. There would also be around 6 to 8 guys who were a part of some sport, whether in school or outside of it. They're in the room at several of the desks. I mean, I understand that everybody learns at a different pace, but what the ever-brimming hell? Without sports offered, these jocks won't be encouraged so much, therefore, no silly interruptions during the lecture. Schoolwork will never be wavered from the mind, and then everyone will perform much better. With sports being offered at school, oftentimes, these preps and jocks receive extra attention, whilst everyone else never gets a word in. These teachers often give these preps or jocks more attention and encouragement, because they themselves are the ones coaching the sports. At my high school, there were about 30 sports teams offered throughout one school year, and there were several teachers I recognized who did the coaching, whether it be for basketball, softball, American soccer, tennis, hockey, or even fucking cheerleading. So in the end, all the course planning they do is written to fit a select few's sweaty ass, called teen bar chewing needs. Make school a place for learning, don't make it into half a fucking football stadium. And before I forget, let's not forget about the select few students who receive scholarships just because they ran around on a field with a ball. I believe it even happened for a cheerleader at my school once during the 4 years I attended. There's someone from a university who comes and has the student and their family gather at some table and the receiving student signs a form of commitment that says their entire college tuition will be paid for. Now, who's to say that these athletes are more deserving of the tuition payment, as opposed to another student who does all their work getting straight A's, yet doesn't participate in any sports, or any extracurricular activities? They do realize that there needs to be someone there in the bleachers or in the medal stands to watch and remain off the field or the grid lines, right? Well, I remember a lot of these knuckleheads walking around the school out of breath, or unable to walk to their class in a totally straight line without resembling Frankenstein. So why are these schools, or gym instructors, making it so that the students aren't half-functioning while in a classroom? How unbelievable. Maybe there will be even less of those retarded homecoming and prom assemblies. And assemblies, commonly referred to as pep rallies to preemptively celebrate any one jock or lady jock's athletic performance. I repeat, athletic, not academic performance. With gym class removed from the school day, students can graduate high school at least 1 year sooner. In various European countries, people finish secondary school at about 17 years of age, maybe sooner. In good old America, nobody finishes high school until they reach the age of 18. This could very well happen given that in almost all high schools in America, seniors are given a free period during one of their semesters. With gym gone, everyone could graduate at much faster rates. If I ever have kids one day, I hope some more people will have decided by then to keep sports and physical education class out of public schools. But I don't want to feel negligent by having my preteen son or daughter go to school and then come home with damp ass, because they are being forced to do physical endurance work without being offered a shower. Not everybody enjoys gym class, and it has likely dismantled the academic credibility and output of various students over the course of 100 years, due to unresolving fears of what unwarranted physical interaction they may or may not be forced to engage in. I don't want to see any more kids getting full tuitions paid just because they wore some gaudy outfit and pranced their toes around in some field. Fuck competitive sports and fuck school gym class.